Blog Talk Radio.
Are you ready to take a bite out of the competition? Are you looking for ideas to make your business better? Welcome to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet,
sponsored by Apple Capital Group.
At the core of every successful business, you'll find people making a difference. And with each episode of the Core Business Show, we talk with those people, examine those ideas, and explore the strategies that make them special. Now, the host of the Core Business Show, Tim Jacquet.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Core Business Show. I'm Tim Jacquet, your host. Today's topic, 11 leadership lessons for Generation Y. So if you'd like to join the conversation, feel free to give us a call at 347-324-3460 or post a question in the chat room, or you can go ahead and email us at info@thecorebusinessshow.com. Let's dive into Generation Y. Before we do that, let's take a break real quick and explain what is Generation Y. So anyway, take a break. We'll be back in a moment. You listen to the Core Business Show. I'm Tim Jacquet, your host. Be back in 40 seconds.
You're listening to the Core Business Show, sponsored by Apple Capital Group. Apple Capital Group in Jacksonville, Florida, is a commercial lender that specializes in asset-based loans, equipment leasing and financing, invoice financing, commercial real estate loans, and asset-based financing in the U.S. and Canada. Apple Capital Group is a direct lender that lends on their private equity investment portfolio. 90% of most loans are decided within 2 hours, and vendor funding within 24 hours after documents are completed, with a one-page application. No slow no's, just a quick decision and a fast yes. To get more information about lending from Apple Capital Group, call 866-611-7457. That's 866-611-7457 to speak with one of our loan specialists. Or visit us right now at applecapitalgroup.com. Welcome back to the Core. Once again, here's Tim Jacquet.
I'm back. Okay, let's talk about Generation Y. A new generation. This generation is known as the Millennium Generation and is about demographics of following the Generation X. They say the births really occurred in the 70s and really from the early 80s to the early 2000s, which comes right after the Generation X. And if you look into, I think, an ad age, they kind of describe it, do a little research, different way of thinking. The entrepreneurial and spirit, they have a lot going for them because they have technology they grew up with and versus they really have to learn. They just adapted to technology as things came along. When I was in college, I remember the PC when it first came out, expensive. I mean, to get a printer and a PC was $5,000. And you really have to push your parents and say, hey, I really need this for college. And then finally they give in and they buy this $4,500, almost $5,000 piece of with little floppies, and then you need an internet connection, and you need a printer. So all of that things, they spend the $3,500. I remember getting that, and it was really convenient. Then it got better and better and so forth. So Generation X grew up with that, then versus we have to kind of learn how to use that. It's part of their life, just like smartphones with this newer generation. So it's an article that I received. I took a look at from Inc. magazine that was published on February 2nd. So if you want some more information about it, take a look at that article. We're going to post an excerpt on our Apple Capital site and tag that along with our Core Business Show site. So what is there is 10 things, so I'm going to add an 11th thing. Okay? So if you want to achieve great things, you have to do great work. Okay? Great things, great work, dedication, and commitment. And also it talks about take your big risk. A Generation Y will take risk. When you're young, you can take risks. You're fearless. You have nothing to lose. Your parents is going to back you up if you become homeless. So they can afford to take the big risk. They can afford to take the time to do things. They'll roll the dice. They're entrepreneurs in spirit on a lot of things. Also, number 3, always seek a broaden your experience. Perhaps the best decisions you ever made is to spend the first decade of your career with large companies, train and be groomed and be open to a world of new disciplines, markets, and opportunities. Those things will event you, but that's not for everybody. Everybody can't go work for a large company. They don't have the motivation or the spirit. They want to do their own thing. And if you're going to do something you're passionate and you really believe and you perfected that skill, So even if you have a passion with it, get the training and get the experience behind you. And make sure you do the best what that field has to offer. Number 4, life is a marathon, not a sprint. You're going to have to run to the race in order to get the goal and get the prize. Number 5, there's a certain balance between equal and life. You can't push yourself all into school, all into work. You got to balance relationships with that and your family. So carve out, if you're going to do 12 hours a day, do 12 hours a day, Monday through Friday. And when you come home, disembark on everything, spend time with your spouse or girlfriend or your family, your kids. Saturdays, keep that time for them. And if you're just bored on Saturdays, maybe commit, say, hey, I'm going to only commit 2 hours early before everybody gets up and I'm going to spend time with my family. The next one is you probably take yourself too seriously. Children have egos as well, so kind of keep that. They want your attention. They're self-centered. They have their views of survival. They want you. So kind of keep that in mind. And try to use that energy that they have to groom to get the things that you want them to do. Okay, make a commitment. Do something real simple. Hey, I want you to clean up the office. We do this for an hour and a half, early Saturday morning, and we're going to have fun for the rest of the day if you need. Also, next one, don't make self-limiting assumptions based on limited experience. So if you have limited experience, don't make limited assumptions. Make them big. When you're young, there's a temptation to be headstrong, to make sweeping decisions based on limited information. For example, popular days to be seen to romanticize, entrepreneurship is wonderful. It is a chore. It is a lot of hard work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Keep that in mind. Don't confuse freedom with entitlement. Even if you have your freedom, you're not really entitled to that. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, no. You're not entitled to things. So keep that in mind. That generation, they're not entitled to get things. You're going to have to earn it like everybody else. And real success takes real relationships in the world. You're going to have relationships with people. I had an interview with someone from the Chamber of Commerce, and she said, people think when they join the Chamber of Commerce, they don't get business right away. You can put your hand up if you're ready to buy. Nobody wants to be ready to buy. They want to be sold and told what to do. You have to build a relationship, and when you join a Chamber of Commerce or a networking group, you're building a relationship. They want to test you out. Once you get going, it's great, but you got to get involved in committees and doing things to have relationships built between people. And then after a year or so, you start to receive the residuals from that and the connections. Then also have faith in the things that work for you. So if it works for you, continue to do it. And last thing I want to add to the 11th thing is have patience. You must have patience. It's a steady road. Even if you go like hot dogs and pancakes and do things for full gusto and some things go pretty quick, continue to be patient because everything is not going to work that same way. So anyway, those are my tips. You can look at this on the Apple Capital site or the Core Business Show. Thank you for listening to the show this morning. I really appreciate it. And if you have any comments, feel free to give us an email. Email us at info@thecorebusinessshow.com. Everybody, thank you for listening. I'm Tim JK, your host. Happy to serve you. Have a great day. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet. For a free quote on equipment leasing and financing, visit our website, applecapitalgroup.com. That's applecapitalgroup.com. And fill out the information to receive your free quote. We hope you'll join us for our next episode. And remember, you can always get to the Core via iTunes. You'll find all our previous episodes there. Thanks again for listening to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet.